Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to...
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you didn't know that? What episode is this?
Between Two Beards, episode... I don't know. 4? Between Two Beards?
It might be. I don't know. But this is a podcast. I think it's episode... Oh, it's over 50, I suspect, at this point.
Yeah.
We are, in any case, in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Mercatus is attending both Grocery Shop and...
NGA.
So we are staying at the Cosmopolitan. So we're across the street from Paris, where NGA is, and just down the road from the Mandalay Bay, where Grocery Shop is being hosted. You know, the event's been, I would say, interesting so far. We've seen, we got to see Tony, the CEO of DoorDash, get up on stage at lunchtime today at Grocery Shop, and they announced today in a press release their deal with Albertsons.
The Double Dash.
The Double Dash.
Right.
It's not called Double Dip; it's called Double Dash.
Wow,
it's a joke.
It is. It could be a double dip.
It could be, but it's an interesting kind of concept, right? That they're doing, and it's tough to say if this is a response to what Instacart is doing with. The folks over at Kroger.
I think they all, obviously they had these announcements lined up for this show.
Right.
So Instacart's Kroger announcements basically having a limited SKU set, more fast, convenient food products available, I guess, 24/7, because that was the other announcement.
Yeah, and this is interesting where Instacart's kind of taking this part of the business. I start to think about the C-store environment, Quick Trip, some of the other larger players. What does this mean for their relationship that they have with 7-Eleven, with Instacart? Does it put strain on that relationship? You know, there was an interesting piece of data that came out from Karen Short and her team over at Barclays that there is apparently this market that is being created of this, I want to call it, she has a different term for it, but I want to call it fast convenience, that's being created by companies like Instacart, GoPuff, DoorDash, and some of the other players that are coming in raising an incredible amount of money in this space. And DoorDash, you know, was their first foray today. The shows besides that are very interesting. I will say, for those of you that listen to In Between Two Beards, it is my perception, and I know Mark and I haven't talked about this, but attendance at Grocery Shop is down compared to 2018. 2019. 2019. NGA, which was in San Diego, which was the last time that we went, in February of 2020.
Yeah.
It's as lively on the trade show floor, but it's a mixture of technology, service providers, and food.
Right.
So that hasn't changed in any case. There seems to be more retailers walking NGA.
That was the feedback we got on the floor. And again, Mercatus is not exhibiting, although we are sponsoring Grocery Shop. Certainly more retail conversations happening. My voice is going.
Well, at least I hope it's not COVID.
No, God, no.
Yeah, no. I'm in danger now.
More retailer conversations happening at NGA than at Grocery Shop.
Yeah, that's right. And it's the tracks at Grocery Shop, you know, born out of Shop Talk, have typically been richer in the sense of content. I'm not so sure this year. I mean, I've only attended a few. We did attend a good chat over at NGA by David Bishop.
Yep.
You know, for those who know David from Brick Meets Click, you know, the big focus that came out of David's talk, and there was a question that was asked by a e-commerce service provider in the crowd, which wasn't us.
Right.
Wasn't us, that asked about, hey, David, you're always talking about how retailers should be mining around pickup. Or click and collect, and you know, David is saying that it is far outranking delivery.
And North America in general is a pickup experience, not a delivery, contrary to what the trades and the sell side people would have you believe.
Oh, absolutely. And there are two reasons for that. Mark, do you remember those two reasons that David shared? Go ahead.
Cost and control.
And the big one is, you know, the fundamental one is for the consumer is control of the experience. And David gave a really great example is a lot of the delivery service providers today have not figured out how to deliver ice cream.
Right.
it ends up, it's half melted, then you have to refreeze it, it's freezer burn. And for a consumer, the reality is having this notion of, I'll be at your house between this hour and this hour. There's this perception of loss of control, which is true, and it's more than just a perception, that it is fundamentally, you can wrap your arms and your mind around the experience when you're pulling up to a store. You know that from the moment it's put in your car, you're in control of getting the items to your home. And that is one of the big reasons why we continue to see in our research, again, in the research that we conducted with Brick Meets Click in August, that pickup is far outranking delivery.
Yeah. And the long-term trend, sneak peek into some future Mercatus research, is that it will continue.
They will continue. Yeah, there is no notion of this slowing down.
No.
There's certainly no notion right now that sales for e-commerce going into September are going to slow down.
Yep.
I think our biggest thing that we are anticipating seeing is likely a repeat of last year when flu season kicks in. We're not seeing any statewide restrictions right now because of the pandemic, so you can only assume that numbers will continue to climb. Sales numbers, that is, and probably COVID numbers as well. It's a little bit different than the climate that we are experiencing in our home country of Canada right now.
Right.
So we're kind of, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it is the opportunity for the retail industry to kind of embrace the changes and to plow forward.
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to for the next few days?
I think for me, I looked at the agendas on both sides, and the one thing that I am not seeing is things that we are talking about, which is fundamentally, how does a retailer embrace the reality and start to deliver e-commerce in a profitable way. I hate to say this, but I'm seeing a lot of this cycle of rehashing features and functionality that we deployed into market 2-3 years ago that have not necessarily been embraced, but they're available in the core platform. So we're seeing a lot of rehashing of that. We're also seeing, what I'm not seeing is, how do you create this operational level of excellence around omni-channel that you, the retailer, can measure, embrace, and adapt? And this makes me think of one thing that was actually said today on stage, and this was said by one of the individuals from PepsiCo, is that the beauty of the retailer being in control of the omni-channel experience and leveraging partners in the ecosystem to deliver that experience is you're able to evolve at the speed of your strategy versus when you put your eggs all in one basket. You're at the mercy of that organization's strategy.
Yeah.
And so I'm still seeing retailers not embrace that. But when they do, also they're falling flat on the back office operational execution.
Yeah. You get this notion that they think they buy the technology and the technology is going to do the job for them.
Right.
But really where the magic happens is when the technology meets the people in the process on the retailer side.
Right. Well, and that goes back to what we talk about a lot is how do you package technology, knowledge, and service?
Right.
It's one cohesive element that just embraces the retail industry, and we're not seeing that. So I wish we could see more content around that.
Yeah.
And I think these talks are so short. They're 50-minute infomercials, and I get frustrated because the first 10 minutes is about a company pitching itself as the be-all, end-all. And it's 3 easy payments and $99.99 plus shipping and handling, and there's but there's no substance to some of these talks, and that's kind of frustrating because it costs money to come here.
Yeah.
It's not just that, it's time, it's intellectual energy,
and let's be honest, you're also putting potentially your health at risk. So
every time I wake up every morning,
this is a big investment.
I put my health at risk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh. So I'm excited.
Is that vodka?
That is.
It's a big bottle.
It's disinfectant.
Okay.
It was an emulsion, but because of the heat, it melted. So this is yes, and it's not from Fiji. But Doesn't she work for Instacart now?
Oh, you can't say that. We may have to pay some royalties.
Okay, sorry. Yes.
Yes, Fiji does work for Instacart.
Yes, we've been sponsored by Fiji Water.
Thank you, Fiji.
Thank you, Fiji.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate it. There's also conversations percolating around what we're going to see at NRF, but I think it's too soon to talk about that. We're not sure if NRF is going to be a go this year. We don't know yet in this case. So NGA is at the same time as Grocery Shop. Again, it's exciting to be here.
Yep.
I don't, if we're to talk about what we're going to see throughout the fall in the industry, we're not seeing anything earth-shattering at this point. I'm not seeing any big major movements. I will tell you, I think this is, I hate to say this, this is likely the death of personalization of AI right now.
Oh, maybe we should save that for the next episode.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think we could talk about that at the next episode.
Let's do that.
We're not hearing positive things at all.
No.
At all in the space about companies that are offering.
Yeah.
And I may be completely wrong. And what I'm talking about is AI on the front end, not necessarily on the merchandising side, on the back end, on SKU rationalization. I think that's something entirely different. I think there's ideas around AI, but it's much smaller than those concepts. And I think we should consider bringing a guest on to talk about that and openly challenge them on that.
So more episodes to come.
Yeah.
We're on the road for the next, 3 months?
Who knows?
For 2 weeks, at least 2 more weeks.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So after this, we're heading over to CGA.
Yeah, California Grocers Association.
Yeah, which we're excited to go to because, we have a very strong presence on the West Coast.
Yep.
So we're going to get to see some of our clients and some new clients we're hoping to be able to announce to the industry at some point soon.
Yeah.
So we're going to spend some time with the CEOs and CMOs of those organizations and kind of go through some exciting new things, features and functionality we're doing and some of the strategies that they're putting out there in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And then we're traveling up and down the coast, meeting with a bunch of retailers and service providers. That's going to be great. And then back to Canada, and then I think we have another jaunt.
Do we?
After Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Which is mid-October.
Yes.
We're going to be going up and down the East Coast, right in through the deep Midwest. And I don't think there's such a thing as the deep Midwest.
Well, it depends if it snows early.
Well, yes.
It may be.
It may be the deep Midwest, and then back into Canada for U.S. Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then that'll be it until we decide NRF. So we're excited to be recording for you guys on the road. If you have any questions, by all means, reach out to the Digital Grocer social channels. Submit your questions. If you have a guest you'd love for us to interview,
let us know.
Yep. We're happy to reach out to them. I think you guys know Mark and his team publish an immense amount of research and an immense amount of data.
We got more coming.
We have more coming.
Stay tuned.
And if there's something specific you want us to measure, let us know.
Excellent.
Thank you, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
We've got more great episodes on digitalgrocer.com, and we'd love to connect with you on social media at Digital Grocer on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and at digital_grocer on Twitter. Like, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you never miss another Digital Grocer podcast.